If you haven't registered, please do so. You have until May 26th to reserve rooms if you still need to get hotel rooms. I'm going to be completely honest, they're starting to run out of doubles for Friday night. They're starting to, I think they only had around 30 double rooms left, so at the last count. So if you need a doubles, I would get them quickly if you need to do so. Remember to, we will have a youth track this year, so we encourage you to bring two to five or however many youth you guys want to bring to this. We will have an entire track for 2 days that is just for them. So those of you guys that are watching online, please keep that in mind. And bring the kids with you this year. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of activities for them, for you, a lot of networking and just fun opportunities that we're going to have. And our banquet dinner will be on Saturday evening, not Friday this year. So if you're going to get an award, you're going to have to stick around for the whole thing if you want to get your picture taken. So that will start at 6 p.m. on that Saturday night. So that being said, our next cultural enrichment series will be May the 9th. That'll be done by Miss Dorothy Ice. She will be doing the turtle shakers and how to make those. So that'll be very interesting. Cherokee National Treasure Dorothy Ice will be right here doing that. We should have a History Lunch and Learn series again. Those are back up and running. If you guys didn't see, they just did one this for the month of April. So May will be back again. So that is the third Thursday of each month. We have the capabilities now, thanks to our IS department and BJ and Alan and Eddie and everybody, to record some webinars from our computers. So if you guys noticed, I did put one up the other day over the Oklahoma Open Meetings and Records Act. We get a lot of questions about that a lot of the time, so it was good for us just to present that information out there. You guys can go back to the videos and reference it anytime you need to. So if you need, we'll be doing those periodically. When we do, we'll send emails and links and all those below the YouTube video. So you can just go to the description of the video, click on that link, automatically takes you to the eval. So if you need TA credit, you have to fill that eval out to get credit, okay? If your organization needs credit for that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. Our next Saturday seminar series won't be until July 22nd. So we have a little bit of a break from that, even post-conference. So we won't have one of those coming up for a while. And second Thursday of each month, keep in mind at 6 p.m. we upload our webinars over the Technology Thursdays. So keep that in mind. Keep your eyes open for those. And of course, if you guys need anything, need us to come to you, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to come to you guys. That is basically all of the announcements I have so far tonight, even though that was a big mouthful itself. I'd like to welcome everybody to April's version of our leadership series over public speaking. The before, the during, and the after. Of course, you guys know this is all an interactive training. It's better to be here in person, guys that are at home, than it is to be sitting there at home. We have a lot of fun. We eat, we play games, we do all kinds of things here. So I do encourage you guys to come down for this. For those of you who don't know me, here's my information here. Just about everybody in this room knows who I am, but I will tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Chris Welch. I'm a technical assistant specialist here at CCO. My educational background is meetings and destinations management, which basically means I'm a party planner. I plan parties. And then, and I'm proud to say this month I will graduate with my bachelor's in organizational leadership this month. So yay to me. No more late nights writing papers. Very excited about that. I've been working with CCO for 8 years, so I've had a lot of years under my belt of doing this exact thing, helping people increase their capacity, overseeing infrastructure projects in the communities, and just a lot of everything that nonprofits do every day. So this is what I do, this is what I enjoy. So those of you at home that don't know who I am, that's who I am. That's my ugly mug up there on the picture. So just a little bit about our agenda tonight is there's so much that goes into public speaking, and there's so many fears out there about public speaking, right? Things are just kind of, we kind of shimmer up, we kind of We kind of freeze up in front of people sometimes. We're going to help you guys get over those fears tonight and help you manage the room a little bit better too. We'll teach you some techniques and some different ways to make things easier. Not everybody's a natural born speaker like Ty is. So everybody has to kind of jump in there and try to find their own way. We'll start off with an icebreaker. We'll get into some meeting techniques tonight. We'll talk about the 8 steps of planning. Planning is one of the most important parts of doing public speaking or doing a presentation. You need to be prepared before you go in. We'll have a handout here that we'll talk to you guys about. You'll see there's an entire workbook in front of you of different things. I'm not going to cover all of that stuff with you tonight, but those are good how-to guides and to go into those on different ways that you can get others involved in your presentation and how to present to people and how to plan and how to just really prepare yourself for the whole thing. We'll talk about evaluations and how important those are. We'll talk about the 4 audiences that you are going to come in contact with if you do these for a while. They're not all nice. We'll talk about getting to know the audience in the room that you're presenting in. Talk about the 3-step process of creating an outline. Talk about some do's and don'ts, helpful tips, how to close everything out. Then our hands-on activity tonight, we're going to do a little role playing. You guys didn't think you were going to come to public speaking and me not have you publicly speak. So that's just what's going to happen tonight. And of course, I'll end like I always do with our closing circle and find out what we learned tonight and how we can implement into our own organizations. Here's some of our objectives for tonight. We want to wipe away the fears of presenting and talking. We want to help you how to plan a speaking engagement, help you do that process. Like I said, that's more important than actually doing the talk itself, is being prepared for the situation. We want to show you how people learn in a classroom setting. As most of you guys know, we've talked about this many times, our sessions are done in a way that we want to offer everything, no matter what type of learner you are, whether you're an audio learner, if you like lecture, if you're a visual learner through videos or hands-on activities where you actually have to do that. And we'll talk about the percentages here in a little bit and why we do those sort of things. Everyone has a different way, and it's best to incorporate all of those into your presentations or your talks. That way someone can walk away with at least a little bit of something. We'll talk about the type of audiences you'll encounter. Not all are friendly like you guys are and hang out and laugh at my terrible jokes and tell me that I'm a good presenter at the end of the thing. Not everyone acts that way. So we'll talk about those kind of folks and how to deal with those situations. We'll talk to you about how to put together that great presentation, the one that's going to wow those donors and those foundations and those people that you're after, not only for donations, but the community to get their backing. Once you have those kind of reputations built, that's when your organizations can really take off. So it's great stuff. And how to deliver an impactful talk. Okay? Well, let's start first. I want to ask you guys in the room right now, what are you looking for out of this training? Does anybody tell me, what's your expectations of tonight?
I'll embarrass myself.
Okay. Embarrass, okay? Okay. What else?
I like the information that we received during the meeting.
Okay.
We can take home and work on our
Okay. Handouts. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the handouts and things like that because we do a big no-no every time when it comes to the rules of facilitating a meeting. Technically, I'm not supposed to give you this stuff until after the meeting's over, but Grace has made it very evident through many evaluations that she wants these in front of her. So we go ahead and go with what the folks are telling us in our evaluation. But that is one rule that we kind of sidestep. So you kind of have to, we'll go about how to work with your audience, and that's one of the things. Yes, Emily?
I have gone to it. I've been to a church where they gave you the sermon notes before the sermon, and I paid attention better when I had the sermon notes.
Really? Most of the studies show that that kind of thing is a distraction during a service, during a talk, during a presentation, that they're paying more attention to the notes or the handouts than they are the actual message that's being brought to you. But I do agree it's great to reference, take notes on the paper, those different things, absolutely. What is something else? What's some other expectations you guys have out of tonight? I want to make sure that I hit everyone's expectations here.
I want to know how to ask for money tactfully and
Okay.
in an open setting like that, because, I mean, that's really what we all, are after. I mean, that sounds terrible, but we all have to have funding, and I don't know how to ask for that. I'm the presentation's really not set up for just this, but towards the end, I'll do Q&A at the end, and I will answer these questions for you guys. I will take the time there at the end, and I will answer these things for you. It's different when you're talking one-on-one with somebody.
It is?
And you know their personality, but when you're talking to a room full of people with
It is.
personalities.
And some of the techniques that we'll learn tonight will help you with that, okay? Yeah. Okay?
To get my point.
You get motor mouth, do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It goes nowhere.
Gotcha. There's motor mouth. There's another name for that, but we won't say that since we're being filmed. So,
Relaxation technique.
okay, how to relax. Okay. How to relax. What else?
And probably learning how not to get onto the audience while you're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice.
How to not be a teacher,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I think so, because you can go on to look at the loudest kids.
Here we go. We want to respect the audience. Okay. And I'll talk to you guys about that. That's definitely in the presentation tonight. Okay. Respect the people.
But it also talked about gaining the respect of your audience.
Mm-hmm.
You still don't want to have somebody being disruptive in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll talk to you guys about all that stuff. That goes into room facilitation. Okay. There's different ways to do that without upsetting people as well. So, anybody else? Is that it? Is this all you guys need from me? This is easy.
I think probably most people are afraid to speak in public, so are you going to give us some tidbits about how to not be so nervous or be frightened when you're standing up in front of?
Actually, I am. That moves us on to our next slide, our icebreaker. What are you afraid of? I want you guys to take a minute or two. Everyone has a fear when it comes to public speaking. This is not what I ever expected for me to do. I really didn't like getting up in front of people. I was a little bit shy. This is just not something I ever wanted to do. It took certain situations for actually me running sound for my cousin's band, and then they drugged me on stage one night and made me sing a song with them. And then I was like, hey, I kind of like being up here. This is kind of cool. And then after that, it just came natural to me. I'm a feeder. I'm an extrovert feeder. I feed off of your energy while I'm up here. I feed off all the energy in the room, so obviously by the time it's over, you guys all leave and then I crash because I have no more energy to feed off of. But I feed off of your energy. And that's what happens whenever you get in front of people. That's why the first couple of minutes, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit, the first couple of minutes of your presentation is the most important. This icebreaker time, this time to get everyone involved, to get people's input, to get people active in the presentation, that's what keeps it going for you. So do this for me right now. Take a couple of minutes. Tell me your fears. Tell me your fears of public speaking and getting in front of people, and let's hash those out before we even get started, okay? I want everyone to get to a comfort zone. Take a couple of minutes. Think about what scares you about public speaking, whether it be motor mouth, whether it be anxiety, whatever that might be, and I'll help you guys with some techniques right away to help you guys feel more comfortable in what we're about to set into, okay? So take a couple of minutes right now. And for folks at home, I'll ask you to do the same thing. Just make you some notes. Think of some things that make you fearful of standing in front of a group of people and talking, presenting, no matter what level of crowd that it is.
Are we to think to ourselves or think to each other?
however you guys want. You guys are more than welcome. You guys aren't caged. I'm not gonna. You guys don't have to just talk to yourselves. You guys can talk amongst each other. Absolutely. Please.
Coffee shop time, talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, what I did though was I had to give a speech in front of
I hadn't seen that in years.
and they wanted to know about how to say first. And the first thing I did, I pulled up a form I had to fill out about 4 or 5 kids. They showed me this is what I need to fill out with the business tax. They got kids. Because it was all kinds of very complicated. But with the help of them, I ended up getting a letter at the end of the year of how excellent I was done. So we got our money. We're getting our money. No report, no money. Not exactly. I got over it. I found out if you shine, you're afraid to get nothing. If you figure out what you want, if you're interested in what you want to accomplish, you're, at least you know that you've done as far as being heard.
You've been very helpful. Believe me.
I mean, not here, but
Been more helpful than we've ever had.
see, Wanda's not afraid, she does a lot of public speaking.
Seriously.
It depends. I mean, I'm not usually afraid. It's just, if I feel like I'm not as prepared as I'm gonna be, then that makes me very
I think I must have gotten over it on
But if I feel like I'm really prepared, then there's still some situations.
Well, that would be
When you're just
Right.
talking to kids
Yeah, they're
and
not
talking
gonna
to
do it.
adults, that's a whole different thing. Then if you're talking to adults
Or,
about
fear of,
topics that they're not as
disputing or,
versed in, that's,
Does anybody need more time? Everybody knows what you're afraid of by this point? Okay, we'll start back here on the back row. Sounding stupid. Okay? That goes into planning. Yeah. Got to have that plan in place. Tina, is there anything for you? Okay. 5.
Forgetting stuff or cursing bad
that would be my main one.
Cursing?
Mine like switch
Stupid. What was yours again, Ty?
Forgetting stuff or cursing.
Forgetting.
He's bad about that.
name.
Cursing.
Yeah.
Cursing or forgetting?
Well, as long as.
Cursing went off the boat.
Anita.
At the same time. How about you, Anita?
I don't like not knowing my topic very well. If I know my topic well, I'm good.
Okay.
But if I don't know my topic well, or somebody throws me a curveball question that I don't know the answer to, I get a little off track a little bit. So I have to say, but I have learned to, table it and not address it if I don't know. So I'll get back to you, give me your information.
Absolutely, that's a good one. We'll talk about that here in a minute. How about you? What is your fear?
I don't speak it. I'm ready for it.
Tone.
Well, we give you a microphone.
Vocal tone.
I get nervous and stumble over words.
Volume. Sorry, folks, mic was off. Some of the things they've come up with that are fears for them is sounding stupid, forgetting, Ty likes to curse, not knowing your topic, and vocal tone or volume, not speaking loud enough.
I'm just not a speaker.
Just not a speaker. So is there anything that scares you about it if you had to get up in front of people?
I don't know.
Never have done it? Well, that's going to change tonight. So, Wanda?
well, I'm kind of like Anita. If I know my topic,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable, okay. If I don't feel as prepared
Okay.
as I should be, then that's that.
Okay. Comfort zone. Okay. Susie?
Oh, I'm sorry. It would take a psychiatrist or somebody to really figure out what I'm really afraid of.
Yeah.
It's such a deep-seated thing. But I guess being unprepared.
Unprepared. Okay. Emily, same thing?
No, I actually have the fear of when I get out in front of public, I'll just like fall or I'll do something really goofy in front of the whole audience,
Uh-huh. Looking
So,
goofy.
actually that
How about you?
Well, I can't think of a rational thing to be afraid of, actually. You know, it's like, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly, right? They could throw tomatoes at you. I mean, come on now.
They can video you and can get a million.
Yeah, well, it could happen. Hey, they invite those people in on Good Morning America and stuff. You'd be a celebrity by that point. So, Grace?
I noticed that I was a teacher and I had no trouble speaking into a classroom of 7th graders. But when I had to speak to my peers, it was completely different. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I think they're more critical or not as accepting. You know, 7th graders are wonderful. They just just you know.
Absolutely. Carla?
I agree with Susie. It's being unprepared.
And prepared. That seems to be a big one for folks. And that, like I said before, planning is the biggest thing that you can do before you go in.
One thing, I have a terrible time remembering names. So of course you get out there and you're speaking in front of a huge audience, you can't remember who you're talking about. So you got to figure out some way to make that look like part of the plan.
And we'll talk about a way to kind of get around this a little bit. Is just a little topic, and I'll talk about this here in a minute whenever we talk about this. But if you arrive early, go around, shake hands, introduce yourself to people, find out what their names are, possibly make yourself a little seating chart on a note card, keep it in your hand, possibly Grace. You know, or another great facilitation tool is to have name tents in front of you. That way it's in front of each person, and then I can pretend like we've been old friends for a long time. Susie, how are you today? You're great. Those are some of the things that you can do to try to help you guys through some of these things. Sounding stupid, we all have Southern accents, so I don't know how we get around that. The best thing you can do to help yourself through this type of thing, whenever you may be forgetful and you forget what you're doing, like I just said, make yourself some note cards of your presentation. Don't read them, but have a reference. Have them sitting on the desk. If you kind of get lost for a second, don't have a big piece of paper that you're walking around with like this, you know. Have you a little note card here, and you can look down and take a reference to that every once in a while. What, have you guys ever heard the whole additive that if you're fearful of talking in crowds, to picture everybody in their underwear? I mean, I've been in some crowds where I'd be more scared of that. Me personally. So I don't really go for that one. But those are one of those things. For forgetting, again, note cards. Make yourself a backup. Cursing, Ty, I don't know how to help you with that. We can call a priest.
Well, what happens though is he's focusing so much on not cursing that it makes him nervous, and because he's trying not to curse, and so it makes him forget what he's, get off track what he's thinking.
Absolutely. I'll be completely honest with you guys. One of the most known motivational speakers, public speakers that is out there and been doing it for years is Tony Robbins. Most everybody knows who Tony Robbins is. If you've ever listened to Tony Robbins, you pretty much need a beep button because the guy curses constantly in his presentations. But he is a great motivational speaker. He inspires people to be better individuals. He's very good at what he does. I mean, people pay this guy like $5,000 a day to come listen to his seminars, and he'll have 5,000 to 10,000 people in a room. He's very good at what he does. What's that? Yeah, he says bad words a lot. But big thing with him, and he'll tell you this over and over. He has a special on Netflix, and that's called Tony Robbins, Not Your Guru. If you can stand the language, I encourage you guys to watch just the process that he goes through before doing a seminar. He says nothing is more important to getting around the fears is develop your own routine. Do what makes you feel comfortable. You know you're going into an anxious type of situation. Do things that make you comfortable. He likes to run. He likes to swim and all those sort of things. If he knows he's got a big talk that he needs to go do, he goes for a morning run. He goes and swims and works out and works out that energy and those butterflies. He has a routine. He eats the same meals before he's going to do a talk. He follows the same schedule before he does a talk. He wears some of the same clothes before he does a talk, just like, those superstitious baseball players, Well, about 20 years. But yeah, same thing. Develop yourself a routine. That's your comfort zone. Once you hit that comfort zone, all the other fears just go away. This is your opportunity to tell what you want to say, but as long as you're comfortable leading up to it, do things that make the situation comfortable by you being comfortable. Okay? That's a great one to go with. Vocal tone and volume. And there's many things, we're going to talk about that tonight too, there's many things that go along with vocal tone and volume. You can lose a crowd, you can gain a crowd with your tone. If you're not loud enough, it's going to cause a problem because they can't hear you. If you're too loud, you're very annoying. If you stay monotone the whole time, you lose everybody and put everybody to sleep. So, we'll talk about that. Whenever it's a high impact part of your speech, you want to hit that higher tone to let everybody know how important that is, right? You want to try to keep that medium tone as you're just regularly talking. And then whenever it's a sadder, more low moment, then you can take that tone down just a little bit. But give your audience, put them on a roller coaster. It's just like reading a book with all those high and low points in there. You want to keep everybody on their heels. That's what keeps everyone drawn in and keeps their attention. We talked about comfort zone, unprepared. You have to put a plan together. You have to know your material. You have to study. And I'm not just talking about the hour before the presentation is supposed to start. Know your material, because if you're actually going to talk about something, you need to actually know it. Okay, because normally when you get up in front of people, you're kind of coming across as somebody who knows these things, right? People are looking to you to tell them about this. How are you to deliver a message if you don't even really know what the message is? Prepare. Spend the time using software like PowerPoint here to prepare your speech. That'll help you learn it as you go, right? It'll give you a reference tool to go back to. But whenever it comes to being prepared, you're never going to be fully prepared, okay? I'm not going to lie to you guys about that. You need to realize it's not going to go as planned. It never does. Something may go wrong. I did this presentation this morning, and the laptop and the projector just started flashing like it was, I thought everybody was going to get a seizure by the time it was over. I didn't plan for that, but luckily, I had my backups, I had my sheets, I had my index card, so I was able to use that until I was able to fix the problem. So be prepared. Always have that plan B, because you know what? Plan A, 95% of the time, isn't going to work completely. So keep that in mind. Being accepted, that's different. And I'm going to not dive into that one just yet, because I have some techniques that will help us be accepted, how to get everyone's attention, how to draw everyone into your presentation tonight. Okay? That's what we just did. I want you guys to tell me, we're going to brainstorm just for a minute. In your opinion, what makes a good meeting? Whenever you guys are going to a meeting or going to a good public talk, what is the most important part for you guys? What draws you into it? What's that? Okay, what you take with you. Okay. What you leave with. Okay. Okay, solid agenda. Ty, if you say if there's food, I swear, man. Chocolate and caffeine. Hey, that is true to some. Chocolate and coffee. Everyone loves caffeine and coffee. Yes, Grace.
Important to me, and I think that in our busy world,
Yeah.
We don't do real rapid trails.
Yep.
Because everybody's thinking, I've got to drive home, or I've got this.
Structure,
Yeah.
basically.
Stay on topic and structure. Okay.
Yes,
The agenda, you bet. What else?
I like humor.
Humor. I live off of the humor.
And you have to be open-minded and not, like, you have to take into consideration everybody's suggestions.
Uh-huh. Open-minded.
Everyone has to say,
Okay.
or else they'll stop saying anything wrong.
Absolutely.
I think we like interaction too.
Interaction.
So just being a lecture.
Okay.
I like handouts.
Handouts. There we go. I knew that was coming.
Yeah, when you go home, you don't wonder what you were, you know, and you can remember it.
I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. You think these three ladies right here, they're the reason you get your handouts beforehand and not after. We're completely violating the rules, but they asked, so that's why everyone gets them.
I like it when at the end you get a list of references that for,
Okay.
later.
Absolutely. References. Okay.
And I always like to wrap, the facilitator to wrap the meeting with an ending summary, an
Okay.
action item list.
An action item list. Okay.
Like who's gonna do what, all that, to recap.
Okay.
The atmosphere of the meeting is important. I want
Atmosphere.
something that I feel comfortable in. I don't want to go to something there's a lot of tension and that kind of thing. I would avoid that.
Even room temperature and comfort of the room, all that even would play a part.
Okay.
Pay attention.
Absolutely. Those are all great. Let's dive into some meeting techniques. Whenever you starting that planning process, don't do it alone. Plan with someone else. Your husband, family, friends, coworkers, anybody that will listen to you. Plan with someone else. Get other ideas in there, because guess what? You're not always right. Contrary to popular belief, we're not always right, so we need input from others. Because guess what? Others are the ones that are going to be listening to us. If we just wanted to hear ourselves talk, we could go stand next to a tree and listen to ourselves talk. Plan together. Two minds are better than one, right? Honesty is the best policy. And I found this a lot of times in your trainings or presentations or public talks that you are going to get questions. And sometimes, guess what? You don't know the answer to said question. Don't just make something up and lie to them right on the spot just because it sounds good to get them out of the way. Give them an ultimatum. Say, you know what? I'm not for sure about that. Let me get back with you after the train. After we're over, come see me. Let me see if we can't figure this out. Or even then, say, come talk to me afterwards. Let me get your contact information. I will find out for you and I will get back with you. Do something in that manner. Don't just make something up to get them off your back right away. Okay, because they're going to remember if you lie. Guess what? They're going to figure it out, right? You can figure anything out on Google these days. So if they know, they're immediately going to grab that smartphone. They're going to know that you just lied right to their face. So, yeah, you could pass the buck.
I mean, legitimately.
You've been working here too long.
No, but really, if you know who they should contact for that information.
Absolutely.
Provide that, because the whole group might want to know.
Absolutely. And be flexible. Guess what? Things aren't always going to go the way that you think that they are. You're going to have to think quick on your feet. As they like to say, fly by the seat of your pants. That's going to happen. Like today, when this thing went haywire on me, I had to think quick. You have to think quick and just keep going. You want to stick to the time frame that Grace was talking about. You can't allow for those types of distractions. Then again, that's why Plan B, Plan C, even Plan D needs to happen. You need to be prepared for those sort of things. 8 steps of planning. These are great. These are in your handouts whenever you guys can go through. If you guys want to go through that, all that stuff is in there. I'm not going to cover everything that's in those. Those are just general good things for you guys to flip through later, and some references and tools and things for you later on. But this is in there, the 8 steps of planning. Whenever you plan, you need to know who you're planning for. You need a profile of your participants and an idea of who's going to be in the audience and how many people that you expect to be in there. Okay? Each one of these we plan from anywhere from 10 to 50 people to be in here. We kind of have an understanding. We don't have more than 50 seats, so that's all we can fit in here. Except for that one time, and we fit like 150 people in here. I'm not sure how we did that. Sorry, risk management and fire code. We've totally violated that one time. But know how many people are going to be in there and know who your participants are. Know if you're going to have a crowd full of seniors or elders. Know if you have some middle-aged adults. Know if you're going to have a room full of kids and youth. Are you going to approach youth in the same way that you're going to approach adults? No way. You're not even going to approach them the same way in the way that you dress. Am I going to wear this if I go to talk to a bunch of kids? No. I want them to be comfortable with me. I want to put on jeans and tennis shoes and maybe a t-shirt or something that puts me on the same level with them, so they'll feel comfortable with me. Know who your participants are. Know why you're there. The situation learners, why are they there? Why are they there? Are they being forced to be there? Are they there because they want to be there? That's going to determine what type of audience you have. If it's like normal school setting and this is for credit and you have to be here, you're not going to have that awesome, fun, interactive audience probably. You're going to have a bunch of people who got dragged there against their will. They're not really going to want to be there. Or it can be a crowd like this, which I know you guys have to be here for TA hours, but the ones that come because you want to be here and you're happy and you're excited and you get to eat, and we keep everyone happy that way. So I know what I'm getting into whenever I walk into this room. Know why they're there and how to deal with those things ahead of time. When, the time frame, when's this going to happen? What day, time? What time should I be there? Should I get there an hour early? Should I be here to prepare? The answer is yes, absolutely. And you should stay late, just FYI. Where's the site going to be? Where do you have to go? What is the content of the training? What's the knowledge that needs to be taught? What's the attitude that you think that you may get about the information? You need to take all that stuff in account whenever you plan. What for? What are you trying to get out of presenting this information? Are you trying to get a donation from a donor? Are you trying to do a public service announcement where you're just trying to get your message across to the community? Are you doing this because you're teaching a class? What kind of goals and objectives do you want to do? And whenever you do your presentations, talk to them about those goals and objectives, what you hope that they get out of the session. Address that to them. And again, that's why I do what I did with you guys before. I want you guys to interact with me and tell me what you guys are hoping to get out of the session. Because I want to be able to fulfill everything, your goals and objectives, along with the goals and objectives that I have established. How? How will you structure the event? Okay? Learning tasks. What type of materials are you guys going to use? Handouts, hands-on activities. Are you going to ask everyone to bring a laptop or an iPad or something like that with them if it's a technology kind of training? And then how will the participants use them? Are they a handout like we gave you guys here where it's a workbook where you can take that home and reference it later? Or is this something that you need to hold on to but they can use it while they're in the setting? You get into some classes that are like that. Have an idea of how the materials will be used too after you decide what you're going to use. And the most important part and the biggest part that everyone hates, evaluating. Measuring the results of the training. That's why we give you guys these evaluation forms every time. Why do we do that? Can anybody tell me why we give you guys those evaluation forms? See if we're getting across what we need to. It also helps us improve the session the next time we want to do it. If we're not meeting your expectations with the content that we have, we need to revamp it and we need to fix it. It helps us also highlight the areas that we're doing a good job at, and that way we can focus on the areas that maybe we're lacking or we're not really hitting the home run that we hope for. The evaluations are awesome. We evaluate ourselves in very many different ways, just not through the evaluations. I go back and watch each video that they record. I would love to unmute, can't stand the sound of my voice, and I can't believe that my southern accent comes in so thick whenever I'm on video, but it does. and that's okay. But I go back and watch my mannerisms, and I play a little game to count how many times I say during the training, because I'm the world's worst at saying the word I used to have a preacher when I was growing up. We used to do that to him. Every third word was and we used to count and see how many times he said it during his sermon every Sunday. And believe me, it was only a 10 to 15 minute sermon. He was that preacher. You know, he went on at 11:45, and if he wasn't done by noon, people started to get up and walk out because they knew he was pushing it. It was just that way. You knew. I mean, it was like clockwork. 11:59, he was done, making an altar call, and then playing the song, and everybody got out. It was a 30-year routine for them. So, so I do evaluate myself. I go back and I watch and talk to people. Offer your Q&A session at the end. Stay a little bit later and talk to people and see how they felt about the session. What did they like? What did they not like? Write all those sort of things down. That will help you guys get better next time. And like you guys said before, it is a little bit harder whenever you know the people that are in the audience. The evaluation can hurt just a little bit more whenever it comes from somebody that you know and somebody that you respect. And if they think any kind of anything negative towards what you've done, it can hurt a little bit. You have to get over that. You have to take it as a friendly critique, a friendly criticism, and try to build upon that. Okay. We talked about this earlier. I'm going to throw some numbers at you guys. How much of a talk do you think people get if you only lectured? How much of the information do you think are they retaining?
10%.
You're low, you're way high. 20%. 20%. The average population.
That would be like ADHD.
How much do you think if you just did it visually, showed videos and showed demonstrations of how to do something? 30%. If you do audio and visual together, you've got your 50%. Okay? How many people do you think learn hands-on? 25% prefer hands-on activities. So think about this. Think about this. If you add an audio component, so the presentation, a lecture, and with videos and hands-on demonstrations, along with hands-on activities at the end so they can take all the information and actually implement it, add all those percentages up, 3/4 of the people in the room will be able to take something away from your presentation. They probably sleep. They ate too much food. Oh no, ask him. He's right next to you.
Do they not have the capacity to learn?
Some do not, and you guys need to take that in account too. There are folks that may be in the room, maybe in your sessions that do have special needs, or maybe they have a mental learning deficiency that's not above their control. So you do have to take that in account. When you're doing those presentations, take the time, slow down, help those folks out if they have questions. I know we always try to say to hold all the questions to the end, do a Q&A at the end of your session. But when you do have special needs in the room, you need to address those special needs. Yes, Grace?
I'm thinking it has to do too with attitude. Some people don't want to learn. They're there because maybe they have to be, they have an attitude, and so they're not going to take in because they refuse.
Absolutely.
They're just not interested in that.
Absolutely. If they're not interested, they zone out. A little trick before you guys get here, I shut all the mini blinds so no one's trying to look out the windows and watch all the passersby. I know how you guys get. Those are some of the little things that you can do, and we'll talk about these a little bit more here as we go along. Some techniques and some different things that keep the focus in the room going. Okay. Okay, audio learners like lectures, your tone of voice, different pitches. They want that roller coaster feel whenever they're in the session. They want the important parts to be more emphatic. They want the lower parts to not feel as important. They want the continuous dialogue. Okay, vary your tones in how you address folks. That's how your audio learners like you to be. Visual learners, videos, visual demonstrations, hand movements, eye contact. Probably another bad step for me is my hands. I can't keep them still. I probably need to tie them down. I mean, here lately, I've been watching the current president talk, and he's all over the place, and I keep thinking, man, is that really what I look like? I'm going to tie my hands behind my back. But so I've been trying to limit it a little bit more. I don't want to look like that whenever so I just try to keep it away from the face. If I just keep it away from the face, I'm okay. But they want that. Visual demonstrations, those folks need to see that from you. They need to see the action in the movement. If they don't see that from you, they're going to zone out on you. They're going to check out. They're going to start thinking about what's for dinner. What time do I got to pick the kids up tomorrow? You know, they're going to completely start thinking about something else. Another thing with this, and this kind of goes, and I will cover this for us on a Native American aspect, is eye contact. Eye contact is great, especially when you're addressing somebody. You want to look somebody in the eye, but don't do it for too long. You don't want to be creepy. Don't be creepy with it. And you will find in certain cultures that some, especially Native American cultures, don't much care for long eye contact. So be careful with what you're doing. Don't try to pierce someone's soul and look into their eyes, but make that initial eye contact with them as you're talking to them, okay? And again, don't be creepy. Hands-on learners, activities, games, role-playing, energizers, group activities, all this stuff that some of you roll your eyes at me when I tell you we're about to do this. Some people love this sort of thing. These ladies right here, I mean, the last time they did one, they started singing, and I didn't even make that a part of it. They love those sort of things. There are some people, this is how they learn. This is how they interact. They love the talking, the games, the activities, whereas others just would rather sit here, listen to the message, and get out of here. For those folks, you need to have some sort of aspect with this. I prefer to do them at the end. I like to start with one, get an icebreaker, get everybody kind of talking and going together, and then I prefer to do one at the end. After we've covered all the material, take that material and now let's put it to use, okay? Because that's how those folks need it, all the information to be given to them so they can now use it. So that's also a great way to do it. Just a suggestion, you guys don't have to do it this way, but you're going to get that much more attention from the folks that you're trying to reach if you add all three of these components into your presentations or your public talks. And I know in some situations it's not doable. Sometimes you just got to get up and present some information, but try to do it in a fun way. That's the most important thing of all of this, is just have fun while you're doing it. Anybody have any questions about that, or any suggestions, or any input on what your favorite things to do in those type of situations are, especially on hands-on activities? What do you guys enjoy? Anita's thinking hard. I see smoke coming out of her ears. What are some of the activities that are fun for you in a training session?
Well, I like some challenges to actually think
Okay.
on their own.
Challenge to think on your own?
That's what I like.
Great news, because you're going to get to do that later. Social component. Got a little secret for you guys. All this stuff I can stand up here and talk to you guys. You guys learn more from talking to each other and networking and doing those sort of things than you ever will to anything I have to say to you guys up here. I just figured I got you guys in the room, I might as well talk to you a little bit.
Have that social aspect, it's like bringing a group together instead of the
Absolutely.
mindset, not collective mindset, but
Absolutely.
Also, when you talk to other people and you find out that they've had situations,
Absolutely.
see how they handled it, and could see that could be something you hadn't thought of that would work for you.
Absolutely.
Or someone else mentioned something else, and then pretty soon you found out a lot of information
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have had a clue about.
There's a lot of things that go into having a nonprofit organization, right? You guys aren't the first one to deal with these issues. You're probably not the first one to ever attempt this. It's great to talk to people and find out their situation, how they handled it, and give you an idea of how you can move forward. And what not to do, absolutely. All right, let's go to the part that everyone hates doing, the evaluation part. Why do we evaluate? Well, we need to critique our session. We need to find out how we're doing. Is it working?
Why do you feel like everybody hates it?
That part, sometimes it's hard to hear. I mean, especially if it's a lot of negative criticism, the feedback side. It's not that anyone hates giving the evaluation out. Sometimes it can be, especially if it's a group of peers that are evaluating you. I mean, there can be some hurt feelings in that. So the biggest thing is, guys, we have to grow a little bit of a tougher skin. Take it with a grain of salt. Know that these are things we need to get better at and kind of move forward.
Go back to the evaluations. I just always mark people high or try to mark people low.
Exactly.
Now, if I'm doing a good job, and it's like, no matter what.
Emily, stop being an enabler.
You are.
You gotta remember, we got a Special Olympics and everybody wins and we're all happy.
Yeah, I got you. I understand.
Looking at evaluations for, so I can HR, so we were looking at, health has auditors that want to see us do comparisons for positions in the health department. Like if you've got nurses, they want to see how these people are being evaluated against each other and so they can see areas that need improvement. And like if there's one group of people that specifically are, looks like they need some education or whatever, they want to find out why they're lacking in that. So we picked a group of people to do a sampling on, and the whole group, that supervisor had rated everybody at 4 on everything. We're like, well, that doesn't help us at all. So that he wasn't giving any feedback at all for that.
He was just pretty much marking C all the way down the paper, right?
He was. So he wasn't giving anybody any feedback that was helpful to them or your health care.
If they would let me do the evaluations, I could do some.
Some of the other things while we do an evaluation, it helps us see what went wrong during the presentation. You can always go back, try to video yourself, and try to pinpoint, but when they actually fill the evaluation out, and they may let you know what they didn't like or what went wrong or what you need to improve on. That's the only way you're going to get better at your session, at your presentation, or at the message you're trying to present to everybody. Now your messages may be different because you're going to have different folks in every session, and we'll talk about the different types of audiences here in just a minute. That will kind of tie you in to let you know what you're dealing with. But, it gives you an idea of anything. If there was anything that was miscommunicated or went wrong during your session. Also, it'll let you know what went right. All that positive feedback that Emily's given everybody, they let you know what she liked and how it went. A lot of folks will have negative things to say. They just choose not to say those and like to highlight what was good for them. And that's fine. That's how some people do. Again, go back, probably blue personality, right? It's all about relationship. It's all about keeping others happy in their opinion of you. So that can happen. And you're going to have different personality types in every session because that's great, though. Because if we were all the same, man, life would be boring, wouldn't it? There'd be a bunch of Smurfs running around. It'll let you know what people in the room liked. It will help you repeat the same steps next time. Okay? Will you keep doing everything the same way? Or will you look at, okay, they really like this, but I had a couple of negative comments here. I need to take a look at this and I need to try to make this better next time. Where's my mistake happening and try to figure that out. And you can also talk to people afterwards. Like I said, stay a little bit later, talk to folks, find out some input from them. It'll help you in the long run.
In the EMS world, when I was always evaluated as a medic,
Yeah.
I didn't look at it as destructive criticism. I looked at it as constructive criticism.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went to the meeting thinking, in my evaluation, thinking, okay, this is not going to be destructive. It's going to be constructive for me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So,
I probably drive my bosses crazy once a month. I'm going there, okay, what am I doing good? What do I need to work on? They're like, well, that's what the evaluation is for. No, I want you to tell me now because I want to fix it before the evaluation gets here. That's just who I am. Without the evaluation, the presentation nor the presenter will ever get better. This is all about getting better by doing these evaluations, okay?
These last evaluations that we've done today, one of the cameras on us, and then we come in and film us. So nobody was gonna get an accident.
Nice. Nice. Okay, visual people, I got a video for you. Sit back, relax, laugh. It's going to be fun.
I laughed as soon as I saw that.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Let me just remind you where we have been through, what we've been through. My dad, like many of your folk who got relatives here, many of you whose relatives did the same thing, you're here, they're relatives probably, right? And it is at least that there be a stable Iran. Iran that is capable of rejecting Iranian influence. I mean, Iraq. Our people have done a really good job of hauling in a lot of the key operators. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Abu Zubaydah, Ramzi al-Shib, or whatever the guy's name was. Thanks for coming. Be seated. Thanks for coming. Welcome to the White House. Thanks for coming. If it feels good, do it. If you got a problem, blame somebody else. You may recall we went to a park in Botswana, Panama City, Panama. What you probably want to know is the 3 words I'm not going to tell you.
Samozřejmě vy byste asi chtěli slyšet.
I'm not going to tell you. That's 5 words. You'll be able to see a technology, a technology that will.
And this probably happens a lot in school settings too. You're going to have an unentered. They're thinking about what just happened. Passing notes to people. They're going to be, the high school kids are wondering if, is Susie going to go out with me later? Do I need to pick her up? Their minds are somewhere else. An uninterested audience, you need to be dynamic for them. You need to be entertaining. You need to be able to draw them in. But here's the thing, you will lose them if you go too long. You have to be brief with them. You have to be brief and only have 3 major points that you want to cover with them. And don't dive into a lot of dialogue that has nothing to do with what you're there to talk to them about. You want to be exciting. You want to draw their attention in. Get it out of the way before you lose them. So when you have an uninterested audience, that's the best tact that you can have. Hostile audiences. Believe me, I have had these before. I teach and implement conflict resolution. It's not my problems, it's somebody else's problem, but they ask us to come help them through them. I've been in this type of audience before. Even when they know you're there to help, you're still not really welcome in a nice way. As a matter of fact, I will tell a little personal story. I've told this before, but my very first day on the job at Cherokee Nation was taking me into a community, into a hostile environment, which I spent the next 6 months trying to help work through their problems and help them get reorganized. And we succeeded. I was very happy. It took a lot of hard work, but you know what? We accomplished many things there. But I walked into a room full of 100 people. I mean, it was literally split down the middle. This side of 50 didn't like this side of this 50, and fingers were being pointed both ways. So you're going to have an audience like that. They're not always going to like what you guys have to say or what you have to do. Mid-County, you guys are probably used to that with the fire department and everything. You're pretty much used to people not always being excited about the idea of what you have going on. So there's a different way to handle that too. Be calm. Speak slowly. Okay? Be non-controversial whenever you're addressing a hostile crowd. Talk to about the business. Don't be condescending. Don't try to make people laugh because you're actually just making it worse whenever you do those sort of things with a hostile crowd. You want to be as professional and as tact as you can with a group like that. They're not really there to hear your personal stories or to hear jokes or to be led in any other way. They just want the facts, and you need to be able to win them over. Okay.
This is more like when you're trying to resolve an issue, like when you're having a big change come about.
Absolutely.
But it's also about the culture with the telling them
Absolutely.
schools and their parents coming and everybody's getting upset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you will have crowds like that. That will be up to the facilitator of the room to really try to control the crowd, but the ones relaying the information need to have tact. They need to be professional, and they need to stick to their points. Okay. We talked about nonverbal communication. Brad talked to you guys about this stuff the last time whenever we did interpersonal communication. But again, this comes into play when we do public speaking, right? We talked about this stuff. Walk around. I'm a big walker around. I like to walk around. I get all my steps in for the day, you know, according to that little tracker in my pocket. I like to walk around. I don't like to be confined behind a podium. You might as well put me in a cage. I don't do well with that. So walking around is a great way. It shows people that you have excitement and there's activity, and it keeps everyone's eyes kind of drawn to you a little bit. It keeps people awake that are trying to doze off on you. Use facial and hand gestures. Don't overdo them like I do a lot of the times, but use facial and hand gestures. If it's a happy story, smile. It's okay to smile in front of people.
You're missing a page, right?
It's out of order. I changed the order on this one. It's just out of order. Page 11. Sorry. Facial and hand gestures. Make eye contact in a friendly way, like we talked about earlier. Don't be creepy. Make it brief, but make eye contact with people. Let them know you're interested in what they have to say, and that you're trying to start that interaction with them. Yes.
How do you know how long your creepy is? I mean,
I try to stick to a rule from about 1 to 3 seconds.
Okay,
1 to 3 seconds, that's good. Blink, look away, do something else after that 3 seconds. Don't just keep gazing into someone's eyes. Kind of look away every once in a while.
What if it's something you're trying to get across, though?
You can actually, if you do it for too long with continuous eye contact, you can come across as hostile to them, and it can totally change the dynamic of your conversation. Try to be respectful. You don't want to seem intimidating, because you'll completely ruin the dialogue and the interaction.
you said the hostile meeting, he's like the facilitator. If he wants to start somebody down my phone,
You can tell too that some people, you can tell by the person
Yeah.
you're looking at if they're comfortable with it or if they're not.
Yeah, and a lot of the times a telltale sign will be they will completely look away. That's how they break the tension, is they will completely look away from you. So if someone looks away, then it's time to move on. Okay, move on to the next thing. Let's talk about demographics a little bit. Things that you guys need to take into account before you go into the deal. Think about this, guys. We're still talking about planning for the talk. We haven't even got to that point yet. We need to think about the age of the people that are in the room. Is it a mix? Is it mostly seniors? Is it mostly kids, youth? Think about that, because that'll change the way you approach things. It'll change the way you want to interact with people. It'll change the way that you dress and look for the presentation or the talk. It'll change the way that you address everybody, especially if you're going to talk about technology with a group of seniors. Are you going to go in with the same jargon and the terminology that you'd use with a bunch of younger people or people that are used to that kind of terminology? Not if you're smart, exactly. Most are still dealing with turning the computer on and off or using the right and the left click button on the mouse. I mean, folks that weren't born in that generation in that time, is something totally new to them as digital immigrants, as Kevin has said many times. A lot of us I'm a digital immigrant. We didn't grow up with those sort of things. I mean, we still had dial-up modems whenever I was younger and in high school. It took forever to get on the internet. But those are some of the things you need to take into account. Take into account gender of the room. Or you have an all-male crowd? Do you have an all-female crowd? Do you have a mix of the two? Today's environment, you have transgender and different people in the crowd. You have to be respectful of everyone. So you need to know what you're looking at there. Education level, think about that too. Do you have a mix? How do you need to present this to folks that they're going to understand? Do you have a group of folks that are, with high school educations? Are we talking about college grads? Are we talking about youth who aren't quite there yet? How are you going to address them? How you pinpoint the presentation is based on the education. Experience. Are they experienced in this field? Is it something totally new to them? If it's a mixed bag, you need to touch on all aspects of it maybe. If you know that you have an experienced crowd, you can hit on more of the upper level part of your presentation and not spend so much time on the basics. If you know that. But you need to know the experience level of your audience before you go in. Culture. Now this is a big thing for us, for Cherokee people, is culture. You have to be respectful of everyone's culture. It's a little bit easier when we have a group of Cherokees. We can kind of make jokes at our own expense and sort of things, because we all do that. We like to laugh and joke about things that we like we do. And Patty brought out the bologna earlier. I was like, why is this not fried? I mean, come on now. You don't eat non-fried bologna. How does that work? But we have to be respectful of our cultures. We have to highlight our cultures. Integrate the culture of the people into your presentation or your talk. It gets people interested. They feel more of a part of your talk, and that will get them to be more interactive with you. Talk about size. Smaller groups like this, it's a little bit easier. The anxiety is not quite so high, right? And that'll change the way that you interact by the size. It's easy for me to call you guys by your name and look at you in the eye and interact with you here. What if I had a room full of 1,000 people that I'm addressing? Am I going to do that? Am I going to be able to call people by their name? Am I going to be able to have that personalized time? I can have that personalized time, but after the session is over, if I stick around to talk to folks and to get input from others and have a Q&A session.
There are very few that can really have that personal touch when they speak. I mean, it's like very few.
Absolutely. And the size of your crowd will make a difference on how much interaction you're going to be able to have and how much personal input that you can have on the session.
Talking about education, I have actually been asked if I actually speak that way before.
Have you?
Because I use too many $10 words.
I got you. I got you.
Condescending.
Yeah. We've experienced that too. Here's some beginning session tips. You guys know I like to start off with icebreakers every time. I like to break the tension. I'd like to get people talking, kind of get those, like today we talked about our fears. What are our fears about doing this whole thing anyway? You can start with asking the crowd what they want to get out of the training, which we did. Greet people, learn some names as they walk in. That'll help break the monotony. It gets you on a first name basis a little bit with some folks. It makes them feel incorporated into your session. Okay, arrive early. Arrive early to the session. Never show up right on time or late. Come early. I like to be in the room at least 30 to 45 minutes early. I want to be able to check the room out. I want to be able to make sure all the communication stuff works, which at Cherokee Nation that still doesn't matter most of the time. We want to stay late, because you want to have that time to interact, talk to people, answer any questions if they have, or just visit in. Some people want to take pictures with you or anything, because when you're in front of people, they kind of look at you as a public figure, even if you don't look at yourself in that manner. People want to just be a part of what you're doing, especially if you really hit the heartstrings and you've really been able to make an impact on their life with your presentation and your words that you're looking for. Okay. We talked about knowing the room and try it out. I told you my little trick already. I closed all the mini blinds so you guys wouldn't be staring outside and going into La La Land because it's nice out today.
And that's up on DVD too.
Yes, it is. Check sound equipment before you come in. We like to test everything out. Come prepared. Okay. Bring backups of things. If you know you need a laptop, if you've got two, bring two, because if one goes down, you've got the other one at your disposal. Same thing with microphones, handouts, activities, index cards, all those sort of things that you're hoping that you don't need, bring them anyway. If you're trying to save yourself some backache and not having to carry all this stuff in and out, still bring it with you, because you never know what's going to happen in these. Have that plan. You have your plan A, but have your B, C, and D as well. Come prepared. Check the lighting in the room. What happens if you have the lighting too low? People nod off, right? That's the first thing I do. What's the lights are too bright? You're burning retinas and brain cells, guys. I mean, you're really hurting people whenever you have it too light. So check your lighting, see what will be comfortable from everybody. And yes, I know it's hard to do that because everyone has their own way that they like things. But try to keep it in the middle somewhere. That'll make things go a little bit easier for you. Close your window blinds. Don't blend into the room. Try not to do that if you're getting up to talk. And you're in a room full of gray walls, probably don't wear a gray suit and a gray shirt. Don't be a fixture in the room. You want to stand out. You're in front of people. You want to stand out in their minds. So you want to dress the part, look the part, and don't blend into the walls.
Can you go too far and be too flamboyant and
You can.
clothes and
You definitely can. I've seen some. I have close friends here at the tribe who
it becomes a distraction?
wear fedoras and red suits and lots of jewelry and things like that. And that's just their personality. That's who they are. But you know, it can be off-putting if that's not what the situation calls for. Dress to the occasion. If you're working with youth and it's more of a casual environment, dress in a casual environment way. If it's a very business-like, professional setting, dress in the appropriate attire. Okay. Have a backup in case of technical issues. We had issue with the laptop earlier today. BJ brought us a different one. Those kind of things are going to happen in technical issues. I always carry 2 clickers on me just in case one goes dead. Those things will happen. I keep a backup of the presentation on a separate flash drive just in case that flash drive won't work. We have another one. We can load it on there too. Technically, you know, we really depend on technology these days, but it can also bite us on the rear end at the same time. So be prepared that issues may happen. Created a printed presentation like we do here for you guys, references, the actual PowerPoint for you guys to write on, and then make yourself some note cards of the presentation as a backup. Okay, I keep a nice printed form of my outline just in case I have to refer to it. If I have technical issues and things go down, I have it to look at and refer to. Does anybody have any questions about any of those? Anything that you guys want to add to that? Some things that have been helpful for you whenever you've done your talks? No? How about teachers? What has helped you guys out the most whenever you're... Knowing everything, being prepared, knowing your information. Absolutely. Skittles work. Skittles work. Absolutely. That's why we feed you guys ahead of time. Bribery. Positive reinforcement. Everybody's seen that episode of The Big Bang Theory, right? You know, when he kept feeding Penny chocolate. Yes, Grace.
I think one thing that was helpful for me is if you need to be excited about what you're talking about. If you're exciting, then it's better, then they can catch that excitement. But if you are not.
Absolutely. And I've been in those lectures, Grace. I've been in those talks where the professor didn't seem like he really wanted to be there.
Set the atmosphere.
Oh, thank you. Because I'm excited about all this stuff. This is the best part of my job, is getting to be up in front of everybody and share the knowledge, what little bit of knowledge I have with everybody. Let's talk about a presentation outline a little bit. This is very simple. There's 3 rules to this. First, you want to tell them what you're going to tell them. 2, you're going to tell them. 3, you're going to tell them what you just said. It's the same thing whenever they say we need to teach children things, right? We make them do it in three times. Make them say, reinforce that in their brain. They say that after the 3rd time, that it's set in a lot of people's brains. And the same thing that we've always told you guys about saying thank you to donors and to different people. You want to say that multiple times to them so it sticks in their mind. The same thing here. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Then tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. Very simple. Use personal stories, empathy, humor. Don't read your slides if at all possible. They're good to refer back to. You can look back at them. Kind of triggers your brain and helps you do your presentation. Okay, your PowerPoint presentation should be more of an outline for you, whichever tool that you use. If you have a Mac, I think they have a different presentation. I think it's called Slides or something like that. Google has Google Slides. No matter what the format that you use it as a guide. People like visuals like this, so they can kind of follow along as well. Come up with a good title. If you have any sources, please cite those. And make yourself comfortable by knowing your subject. Like you said, be prepared. Know the subject matter before you go in. Now, I have been being put in situations. You guys saw me be put in the situation in Claremore a few years ago. Last year, whenever our presenter got tied up in the airport because of the Democratic National Convention. He couldn't get out. He wasn't going to be able to get there. He literally calls me at 5:30 in the morning and says, "Hey, I can't make it. I'm still in the airport." So he emails me his information. I literally, from the house to Claremore, looked over it, got up, and did a full 6-hour presentation over it. Don't make that an everyday occurrence. Don't make that an everyday practice. I don't suggest it for anybody. I'm a professional. This is what I do. So there was different ways that I knew that I could try to push this in my brain very quickly. And I did have experience in it. You're not always going to have that experience in that way to make the situation better. So prepare. My favorite thing is humor. I love to use humor in my presentations, and if you guys aren't laughing at my jokes, I just start to make fun of myself, and then it seems to get everyone laughing. So find what works for you. People love to laugh. Make sure it's the appropriate setting to do so. Make sure you have the appropriate audience. But humor is always a good way to get people laughing and enjoying. And you can do it in different ways. It just doesn't have to be from things you said. I can show you a funny video about George W. Bush's terrible speeches and get everybody opened up laughing and get the good feeling going in the room. You want everyone to be excited. Okay? Here's some do's and don'ts. Here's some do's. Clarity. You have to have clarity in your talks. Avoid jargon or technical language. Some of you guys have been, when I brought the Google guys in, I still have no idea what those guys were talking about. I don't talk nerd. So make sure that you're on the same level with everybody in the room. Again, why you should know your audience beforehand. Make sure they're going to be able to understand you. Easy to understand, speak clearly. Use the right appropriate kind of language, Ty. No cursing. Record yourself for self-evaluation. Like I say, I hate watching myself, but I know that I need to. So that is a practice that I always have the next day, is to sit down, watch the YouTube video, and see how I felt the session, and did some self-evaluation for myself. Good practice to have. Practice with a friend or colleague. If you have people that are around that you can actually present do your presentation or your talk in front of, or even in front of a mirror. That's always a great way to do that too. You see a lot of people look in the mirror and practice their speech on TV, you know. You see that a lot. You guys remember the Saturday Night Live guy that used to always look in the mirror? I think he's like a congressman or a senator now, isn't he? Al Franken. You know, remember the "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me" guy? Right there you go. That's the easiest way to do it. But if you actually have people that can sit down and listen to your speech before you go in front of the crowd, do so. Get a little bit of that evaluation before you even go in, and make some tweaks if you need to do so. What is it? Senator from Minnesota. There you go. Still, this guy's probably done great things in the House, and I have no idea. All I can think about is whenever he talked to himself in a mirror. Get feedback from others. Like I said, get that feedback that you need. Give handouts at the end of the training or speech. Again, we violate that because we evaluated and got feedback and found out that you guys like to have them at the beginning, so you can have them and make notes and follow along better. So we violate that rule, but just as a general rule, keep in mind to try to keep distraction from happening, to hand those out towards the end. I'm either or on it. I've witnessed it work very well in our settings, but I also know what the books tell me and the distraction that they tell me that it causes. So I'm kind of up in the air on that.
I guess it's getting to know your audience.
Absolutely. Getting to know your audience. There you go. Starters, strong starters. The first 2 minutes of any session that you do are key. Okay? You draw the crowd's attention. It's just like that big novel that you pick up, right? If that first page and you read it and it's about the most boring thing you've ever read in your life, are you going to continue to read the next 1,000 pages of it? Probably not.
Probably required.
Except for Emily. Emily's going to keep reading to see if it got better or not.
I'm going to read the end, and if I like the ending, then I'll read it.
I've seen that too. It's kind of like movies or shows. I've had shows where people just tell me this is the greatest show on earth. I can't make it through the first 15 minutes and I'm just like, I can't do this. I don't care what the reviews say on this. I can't get into it. And that's a lot like with your presentation. The first 2 minutes are going to be key for what you do in your training sessions. The audience during this time, they size you up, which doesn't take people long to size me up. I'm, 5'3"? During this time, this is when you engage the audience. This is when you get them excited about what you want to talk about, how you get them to set the tone for interaction. Be excited about what you're doing. Start off with that big opening statement, right? The opening statement of anything that you do is what draws people in. Openers, tell a compelling story. These are different ways that you can do this. Tell a story that relates to the situation, that relates to the crowd. Again, that's where it goes into knowing your audience, knowing the culture of the people, what their background, whether they're adults, children. Again, know your audience. This helps draw them in. Ask them a relevant question. I did that tonight, right? What are you afraid of in public speaking? What scares you about public speaking? That's an honest question, right? Because believe it or not, public speaking is the #1 fear in all the world. Followed by the fear of death. So people would rather die than give a talk. Believe it or not, it is the #1 fear. People actually fear death less than getting up and doing a public talk. The anxiety is that strong for it, believe it or not. Something else I like to do, and I did this today, is icebreakers. This is the way I love to do these. It gets everyone smiling, kind of laughing, gets the brain thinking a little bit, and again, gets you guys talking to one another and breaks that ice of the fear of just being amongst other people. Some people have a high anxiety when it comes to that. We want to try to break that right away, and that's what icebreakers can do for you. Make an engaging promise. By that, what I mean, set objectives. This is the objectives tonight. This is what I'm going to teach you about public speaking. These are the things we're going to hit, and you will understand these by the time I'm done talking to you. Make that engaging promise. It draws them in. Okay, this may be something that you've been looking for a long time, and if I say that's one of the points, and then I ask you what your expectations are, you know you're waiting for that question to be answered, so you're going to engage in the conversation a little bit better. Use flattery. Flattery is always a good one. I've had Brad and I do some leadership talks with the Exceptional Leaders Lab. From the book, What Exceptional Leaders Know. You guys will find out at the conference. I have the entire staff coming in to do a lot of leadership talks for us during that time. One thing that Tracy has always told us, Tracy Spears has always told us, acknowledge everyone, use flattery, know that you're excited to be there, but never thank them whenever you're doing that. Never get up there and say, oh, thank you so much for having me here. You want to seem professional whenever you're giving this type of presentation, Don't act like it's the first time you've ever done it, because that people will judge you just a little bit more if they think it's like the first time, or you're just something that's not a consistent thing for you to do. So you want to give that impression that you're the mentor, you're the person that is the most knowledgeable in this area, and this is why they're here to listen to you. So set the tone for yourself. Use video clips. I had a lady from the Cherokee Elders Council today. She told me from the get-go, this is why I come. I love watching your video clips. She was the most excited about that video clip today. She laughed and laughed and laughed. Even after it was over, she was still laughing. Video clips draw people in. People love that visual, especially if you can add humor into and make it relative to the topic. Great opportunity to do that. Again, use humor. Humor's great. We all love to laugh. There's a couple of things Cherokees do well, and that's laugh and eat, right? We do that very well. So, know your crowd. Body of your presentation. Again, try not to read your slides or your speech. Use an outline of index cards or an outline sheet, something you can refer to if you get lost. Only use it as a reference. Use a presentation software like PowerPoint here. Avoid fancy fonts. Don't use those funny looking cursive scripts that no one can read, not even yourself, just because it looks cool. Try to stick to Arial or Times New Roman whenever you use those type of fonts. You know, those are the normal educational school systems require you to use those. They do that for a reason because they're the most readable and they're most recognizable. So try to use those two type of fonts whenever you do things. Use multiple slides. Don't try to cram everything onto one slide. Don't cram too much onto one slide because it just makes it hard to read. It just kind of makes your presentation look sloppy whenever you do that. Proof your slides for spelling and grammar. Thank you, Microsoft. They have a little button that you can click for spelling and grammar. You know, it gets rid of that southern accent just a little bit. Kind of makes us sound like we're from the East Coast or something. Kind of helps us out. Closing. The closing can be just as important of a presentation, a part of your talk or your presentation, as the opening. Okay? Biggest thing, this is Grace's thing. You want to stay on time. And I better look and see if I'm staying on time or not, because she'll be getting on me. Oh, I'm good. I'm 19 minutes. Cover your objectives again. Talk about the things that we talked about tonight. Get feedback from them. Again, get your evaluations and we'll get some more feedback. That's why I like to do the closing circle. That gives me a little bit of a verbal feedback before I ever get your evaluations from you guys. And I know a lot of people will walk out of the room whenever I'm saying fixing to start doing that because they don't like to open up and maybe they're not sure what to say. But it's a facilitator's technique for me to try to, in my mind, I'm taking notes of the things that you said that you were able to take out of this and are going to be able to take back to your organization. Collect your evaluations at the end. End with a positive part of your presentation. Leave them wanting more. Send them home with something that's going to inspire at any time. Kind of like you guys, anybody ever... Okay, you guys have to admit it if you actually did watch it. Anybody used to watch the Jerry Springer Show?
Yeah.
You guys remember he used to have his little thing at the end whenever he would give his input at the end about the whole day, and it was all inspirational because he was Jerry Springer. Yeah. Jerry Springer.
I thought you were talking about Jerry Chandler.
No, not Gary Shandling. Jerry Springer. At the end of every show, he had that inspirational thing about working out your differences and all those sort of things. You guys remember that?
Violent all the time.
You know, they used to fight.
That's the only thing I watched first 2 minutes and then I'm like,
But it's always good to end that way. Here's a checklist for everybody. Whenever you're getting ready to do this, be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not whenever you get up in front of everybody. Be yourself. Because that's who you are and that's who you need to stay. Relax. Do things that make you comfortable before you go on. If it's a routine that you crave, stick to the routine. But stay relaxed. It's okay. You know, no one's there to hurt you, I don't think. Be calm. Walk around. And if you have nerves and things like that, walking around helps kind of settle some of those. If things are moving too fast, move around, slow yourself down. And another little trick is if a lot of the times when people get anxious when they're doing a talk, they start to really talk fast, trying to get through it. The quicker I say these words, the quicker I get done, the quicker I can get out of here. Don't do that. Slow down. Catch your breath. Let the audience have a chance to catch their breath. Take those slow it down, take those pauses, and by doing so, you'll help yourself collect your thoughts get everything back on track, and you'll be able to move on when you hit that and that anxiety hits. If not, talk to your doctor, get some Prozac. Vary your tone pitch, make pauses. Like I just said, slow down, make sure it's clear, your tone is correct, and that everyone's able to get a clear message from you. Make no apologies. Unless you say something bad about somebody, then apologize. Okay. Make no apologies during your session, because these are your opinions, these are your outputs, no matter what the message is that you're trying to get across. Don't make any apologies in the session. And like I said, unless you did something that's really, really terrible, then yes, please apologize and maybe go buy them flowers afterwards.
That's what the speech is about, where you have to make an apology speech.
Then you can make apologies that way.
Because we've seen that in political life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apology speeches.
Absolutely, apology speeches. Let's hope we never have to make any of those. Address people like your old friends. How do you guys do that? Well, one, like in our setting today, everybody basically knows each other already, so we are old friends. But in certain situations, if you're not familiar with the crowd, that's when getting there early, shaking hands, asking people what their names are, making those mental notes. Or another facilitator's trick, make sure there's name tents at every seat. Have them write their name down. That helps you make that more interaction with them. It makes it more personable. It helps you create that dialogue with everyone in the audience. And again, Q&A at the end of the session. You don't want to interrupt the session by tons of questions. So usually at the start, but tell people at the start, okay, I'm more than happy to answer your questions, but I'll take all questions at the end of the session. Or if you need more personal time with me, please stay after the session and I'll be happy to answer your questions then. Those are just some great things that you can do. Again, take steps to visit after the speech. We've talked about that with you guys tonight. Take steps to visit with everyone. Stay late. If they want to take their picture with you, take a picture. If they want you to sign something, sign it. Be there for them. I think that's one thing that drives me nuts about celebrities is they wanted to be a celebrity and then they don't want to, all the things that go along with being a celebrity. And whether or not you look at yourself as a celebrity, in somebody's eyes, you may be one. Yeah. You're inspiring them in some way. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like last year, before Patty started working with us here at the tribe. You know, she's a member of the Cherokee Nation, but she's been living in Florida and North Carolina for the last 30 years. You know, it was a big deal for her last year to take her picture with Chief Baker. I've known Chief Baker since I was like 5. You know, it's not that big a deal. I got plenty of pictures of myself with Chief Baker. So, but it was a big deal to her. So keep that in mind, even though you don't see yourself as that type of figure or a leader. But you guys are leaders in the communities.
Like the first time you got to take a picture with me.
Exactly. I was excited.
Okay.
Ty. I mean, it was Ty.
He opened that up, so I have to tell him. The first time I ever went to a reunion with him, I thought, my God, these people act like a freaking celebrity or something. I'm serious. I mean, you couldn't get a moment with him because everybody's just, jeez.
It's Ty. Come on now. If you guys want to, we can all gather for a group photo and we'll put it on Facebook later. Above all else, guys, biggest thing on this checklist, have fun while you're up here. Be excited. Make it fun for everybody. Make it fun for yourself. Don't make it about work. I mean, if you're going to have to do something, do it in a fun way. And that's the greatest thing, is just to have fun, interact with people, talk, laugh. That's what we do as human beings, is we socialize and we crave that social interaction. Have fun while you're doing it, okay? We're going to move to the last thing. And this is going to be fun. So I want, let's see, how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15, 16. We got 17 people. Let's do this. We'll do groups of 3 except for this one. We'll leave this as 2, but so probably pretty much 1 on this one. But I'm going to give you guys a card, some note cards here, okay? You'll be given 2 cards. There's one pink one and an orange one. Each card will have a word on it. I'll give you guys 5 to 10 minutes. I want you to come up with a speech. I want you to connect the two words together in your speech, okay? It doesn't have to be long or even true. It could be all lies for all I care. I just want you guys to create this speech. And then one person, choose who it will be, present your speech to the crowd. It doesn't have to be long. It could be 1 to 2 sentences. If you can make your point in that amount of time, if you need to do it in a personal story, try to use some of the things that we talked about tonight in developing this. So let's get started here. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. These are not words that go together. So, some for you, some for you guys. Liam and Tina. Wanda. Yeah, let's do, yeah, except for there and there. We'll do 3 here. All right, guys. We got one more.
Did we not get one?
You guys get one, I promise.
Orange and pink don't go too well together for color one.
He's doing a lot of sorting.
There you go. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys, take 5 to 10 minutes here.
So we just making a...
Yeah, you just make it up, man, and try to connect those two words together in a speech. Yep. Uh-huh. Use your imagination.
He experienced failure at the writing. Vanilla, you know, after that. Is it just one speech?
Just one. Try to you can use any of the techniques or any of the stuff we talked about tonight. I just want you to give me a short speech connecting these 2 words in some way. You need to connect the 2 words.
Use the 2 words, but connect them.
You need to connect. Everybody.
Can you come up with anything better? No.
For everybody at home, this is just an opportunity to use it's a hands-on activity for those who like hands-on activities, is their way of learning to be able to do a little role playing and try to use the things that we've covered tonight and try to implement them. In some aspects, that's the only way that they can learn. So if you're that way, I hope you're playing along. And at home, if you do get a chance, just kind of come up with your own words and practice in the mirror or anything. Be the best Al Franken that you can be, and make this a fun experience.
And then you have to come up with I have been schooled that. And that would be like president and vice president. What are the things that like they went to shit? Oh, well, yeah, well, it's those,
Yeah, connect them somehow.
A body and a closing.
We're all about the humor out here. Make it funny if you want to.
A strong opener.
Now you guys should be able to make some humor into all this too. You see. Absolutely.
they didn't want those vanilla ice.
We won't listen to her.
Sorry, it's our generation. We can't help it. We can't help it.
What's her opener?
Something that was very funny whenever I went to do the intergenerational pride building stuff. I was at Philadelphia, I think. And that was one of the things that come up when they broke down the different generations. Everybody that was a Gen Xer was Vanilla Ice and Kissy Hammer and parachute pants and all that stuff is the biggest things that they've ever heard about the chocolate. Big hair bands. There you go. Lots of makeup.
Okay.
This is gonna be a good one. Wanda?
I don't have to make that the
Tell us
sentence.
story, roll the question.
Apostrophe, okay, because it's not.
You don't.
You got I there.
The English teacher here is.
I know.
Engaging problems, flattering. Don't have a video clip.
That's spelled wrong. I'm like, okay. My daughter. She's telling me, yeah, she's telling me it's spelled wrong. It's like, oh, I've been doing that forever.
On a time in a land far away.
All right, and when we do their speeches, you can just stand up where you're at. I'm not going to make you guys walk up in front of everybody or anything. So, who needs more time? You guys do? Okay. Just a little bit more? Okay.
That third wheel, really.
How's it coming over there? It's going great.
After I explain, and then I'll tell you later.
No, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 2 more minutes.
After having my photo taken.
Do we start out by telling what our 2 words are? Or do we-
Absolutely. Yes. Whenever we start off, you'll start off by telling us what your 2 words are,
Okay.
and then you can just start diving into your time.
Okay.
Use a good, strong opening, connect them, and then close us out.
I signed my statement and left. Of course, they have it right there. I think they should, that's what they do in Egypt, that's what What was in the basket? What happened? Oh, yes.
1 more minute.
Okay, that's it.
I told you I was going to break that tonight. There's a method to my madness, man, I promise. Is Grace running out paper over there?
Maybe. Okay, I think I got it.
You think you got it? Okay, guys, pencils down, pencils down. Let's start in the back here. Who's going to be my talker over here? All right. All right, first tell us what your 2 words were, and then just go for it.
Okay. Our 2 words were winning and ball. So winning at ball. Winning at ball can be from winning, playing softball, baseball, football, or soccer, or ballroom dancing, and winning Dancing with the Stars. So a closing thought, so have a ball at winning at whatever you do.
There you go. Awesome. See, that wasn't that hard. Wasn't that hard. All right.
Toss and stick. We thought of several ways to use the word toss and stick. I mean, you could say that immediately following a Cherokee Nation holiday stickball game, there will be a stick toss. That's a new event this year that we're having at the holiday. And when we're going to be speaking, we can always use an icebreaker method. Walk into a room with your audience and just toss a stick out in the middle of the audience. I think you'd get everybody's attention that way.
You would. Absolutely.
Or when they're starting to fall asleep, you're losing the room, you can toss multiple sticks at the audience to keep them awake.
I'm going to break this fear, man.
Oh, man.
Our 2 words are spicy and lessons. We kind of understand that everybody likes to have a spicy dish, or, you know what I'm saying, prepare food at sometime. So we offer lessons on how to prepare spicy dishes.
There you go. Simple and sweet, brother. That's awesome, man. Thank you. All right, ladies. Grace is still writing. I said pencils down a long time ago.
All right. Our 2 words were basket and arrested. And questioned, I was finally released. What, you may want to know, was in that basket? Well, for a donation to the children's library wing, I would be glad to tell you.
Great. I love it. That was awesome. Let me get this lady into some screenplay writing. All right.
Our 2 words were ice and failure. The best thing about being held by your feet upside down several stories off the ground is that it can lead to a better path, such as what happened to Vanilla Ice when his failure as a rapper became his success in the home improvement industry after a few years of hiding.
Awesome. You guys realize that I think his real name is Henry Van Winkle, so there's a reason he's Vanilla Ice.
Monkeys are kind of like people. We have alpha monkeys, and then we have those who are followers. The alphas are going to be in control of the situation. They're definitely in leadership. They are the leaders in your group. So put them in charge. They're going to demonstrate their skills, and we can all learn from them. So choose your leaders well. Find the alphas, and let them go for it.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, guys. That was awesome. Did everybody like that activity? Give you a little bit of practice to put some of this stuff into place tonight? And I purposely gave you guys mixed up words for a reason, because I wanted to see where you guys could take this tonight. The morning session took them in some very weird places, I'll be completely honest with you. Actually, you know what? We had like 20 people this morning. The morning sessions are starting to get very large. Okay, that is the material that we had tonight. Of course, I'm going to end on our closing circle. Now that I got everybody talking a little bit, we're going to end with our closing circle. All I want you guys to do, just like we always do, tell me something you were able to take away from this training tonight and something you'll think you'll be able to implement in the future for yourself, for your organization, or something like that.
Well, I thought the checklist was helpful and informative, and I think that's something that I could use.
Great.
I think the 4 audiences was really good. That way you knew exactly, because before you go into a meeting, you usually know what kind of meeting you're headed into.
I like the part on the checklist that says, and I quote or read, address people like your old friends. That will help me to relax when I look at them as old friends.
There you go.
Well, I think I hadn't really thought about it before, but there are certain things I do before I'm going to speak. And those are the things that make me more comfortable. So I need to keep doing those.
Absolutely. Get yourself a routine. All right. Leona?
Just know your material and relax.
Know your material and relax. Tina?
Just be prepared for what you're talking about and know everything that you're talking about.
Great.
The presentation outline. That was really useful for me, and with the strong openers and then the body. I'm going to keep these in my office.
Okay.
Cal, don't get very much.
Ty? He's not talking.
Ty says blah 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 blah. No, I guess really it's something actually that Ty's always said, but you also really touched on it in here, and that is that, you plan for the worst, hope for the best, pretty much. You want to plan, but you got to be prepared for things to fall apart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be prepared. You still got your chance to talk, man. I'm telling you, you're not getting out of it.
I really don't know anything I learned's helpful to me. Like I said, I've never spoke in front of crowds of any type, and I'm nervous right now.
Just think what he was going through just a minute ago.
I like to prepare and to know your audience.
Absolutely. Know your audience. That's a big key to a lot of this.
I liked everything, plus the fact that you take home the information and how different everybody's idea was on how to do the short story.
Absolutely.
And audiences to know how to address them.
Absolutely. Well, that's great, guys. Thank you. I'm glad you guys were able to take a little bit away from the sessions tonight. Of course, as always, I'll stick around if anybody has any questions.